Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. So let's do another general interest video about the Japanese mobile game industry, this time talking about the performance of Square Enix mobile games in 2023. Now, Square Enix is far from the biggest player in the mobile game space, and their relevance has dropped year after year, but lots of folks on the global side know Square Enix and have probably played their mobile games, so it's worth doing a focus piece on them. First, let's look at the games that shut down this year. Second, we'll look at games released this year. Third, we'll look at the games that continue service. And to sum up, we'll look at the patterns and draw conclusions for those. Alright, first, shutdowns that happened or were announced this year. Magic High School Reloaded Memory shut down in August after about a year of service. In its second month, it took about $1.5 million USD, but ended averaging about under 300k per month. Echoes of Mana ended in May of this year after 1 year of service. In its second month, it took in 2 million USD, but ended with an average of under 300k. And in February, Bravely Default, after about a year of service, that took in 1.5 million in its second month, under 300k average. I think we can see a pattern here. Next was this Old Man and a Cat Super Miracle puzzle game. That lasted about a year, shutting down in January. That never topped 200k sales a month. Then we had a Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, shut down in January after about a year of service. That never broke 400k a month. Then we had a Dai's Big Adventure that shut down April this year after 1.5 years. It was swinging between making 1 million and then 500k a month, but still shut down. That was performing better, but still. And then also in January, Disney Musical Parade shut down after 2 years. That was averaging about 400k a month. And yeah, the vast majority of mobile games, they do end before 2 years. On global Reddit, I see people saying, oh, I hope this game lasts for 5 years, like it's so common and so easy. But no, it definitely is not. Okay, and then we have kind of the 3 biggest announcements of the year. One is Sino Alice. That will be shutting down early next year after 6 years. I checked the numbers. The first 5 years were strong. Most of the months were over 2 million a month. And then this final year, 2023, still averaging over 1 million a month. But it's going to end because I think the developers are done with it. And then also the story is done, so yeah, not really about sales, more just about other factors. And then also early next year, Dissidia Opera Omnia will be ending after 7 years. I checked the numbers there too. The last 2 years, it was struggling to hit 1 million a month. And then also ending early next year will be Dragon Quest Monsters Superlight after 10 years of service. I checked the numbers there. 9 years were strong, and even the final year was averaging over 1 million a month. So kind of similar story to Sino Alice. It's time. And then, not a mobile game, but kind of an online service game for the PlayStation, which sold at full price at launch, Babylon's Fall. That shut down after a year. And that was a real black eye for the company. That was supposed to be sort of like a kind of a AAA release, but did not go well at all. Okay, next, let's talk about games that came out this year or are currently running, and then we'll kind of categorize them as either hits or just healthy performers or games that are in the danger zone as far as earnings. First one that came out this year was Dragon Quest Champions. First 2 months were strong, about 5 million a month, but the next half year leading up to now has been averaging about 500k. That's a big drop-off. And yeah, definitely not meeting expectations that Square Enix was hoping for a Dragon Quest mobile game. Next is Ever Crisis. This is going strong. I would call this a legitimate hit. 5 million opening launch month, but a drop of about 15% each month. We'll see where it settles. Next was Engage Kill. Launch month did take in over 1 million, but now it's hovering about 300k every month. I think it's definitely on the chopping block. And then Tawatsugai also came out this year, was never strong, not even at launch. Just hanging on at about 500k per month. This is also on the chopping block, I think. But yeah, of these 4 releases of this year, 3 are already in the danger zone. Ever Crisis is the only one that looks good. Okay, and then part 3 here, let's look at the games that are continuing service. Dragon Quest Walk, this is kind of the jewel in the crown of Square Enix now. This is a legitimate hit, making in over 15 million a month. And then we have Dragon Quest Tact. This is very healthy at making 3.5 million a month, about. And then there's Dragon Quest Keshi Keshi. This is averaging under 1 million a month, so this one is in the danger zone. But it might not shut down in the near future, since the Dragon Quest Monsters Super Light shut down recently. And then there's Dragon Quest Star, or Hoshi no Dragon Quest. This is now, I think, the longest running Dragon Quest mobile game at 5 years, all of which have been strong. Even this year, it's averaging over 1 million a month. Alright, and then we have Nier Reincarnation. The last half year has been averaging under 400k a month. This is in the danger zone. And then Final Fantasy Brave Exvius and Record Keeper. They're both struggling to make 1 million a month. They are also in the danger zone, perhaps. But we have 2 games that are kind of in the low end of the healthy area, I would say. And that's Brave Exvius, War of the Visions, and then Octopath Traveler. They're both making over 1 million a month on average, so I think they're okay. Next, we can talk about the Full Metal Alchemist game, which came out last year and had a great launch. It took number 2 on launch day. But after half a year, the sales dropped, so now it is averaging under 300k. This one's also in the danger zone. And then we have another very healthy game, Romance and Saga Re-Universe. Been going strong for 5 years, still averaging about 2.5 million a month. And then finally we have Schoolgirl Strikers, which hasn't made over 1 million a month for years, but it keeps going, so maybe it's just super cheap to develop and maintain. Okay, so that is the state of Square Enix mobile games. Some patterns that we can maybe pick up. Dragon Quest is definitely stronger than Final Fantasy. This might be because it has more appeal to kids, and then has a similar appeal to adults. Could also be that they are better run games. And then, like all mobile games, doesn't matter the company, launch can be very strong, and then like 2 months later or 6 months later, performance can drop off and never recover. And part of the reason for that is because new games come out all the time and then take users from other games. Another thing that we've been witnessing this year, last year, is that the end of many Square Enix mobile games kind of close together lowers confidence in all of its products. It now has the nickname of the Square Enix debuff on all newly released games. But all games that are released, they seem to get 12 months to kind of run, improve themselves at least. But if the first 2 months are very poor, then that raises the chance of shutdown after a year greatly. So yeah, I'm pretty worried about Tawatsugai in particular. But looking at kind of that safe line, it looks like maybe 1 million a month for Square Enix, which does seem to be higher than many other companies, which will keep games running even if it's making maybe over 500k. And again, looking at which games are could be considered hits for Square Enix, it really only has 2. That would be Ever Crisis and then Dragon Quest Walk. And then even those don't compare to the perennial top 10. And new IPs just generally don't do well. It's only the established IPs like Dragon Quest and to a lesser extent Final Fantasy. But yeah, it is interesting to see like how many Dragon Quest mobile games there are running and then how successful they are. So Square Enix is very much in a position where they are trying to kind of strike a balance with the number of Dragon Quest games and how long they can let them run. Alright, I think that will do it for this video. The next couple of years are going to be pretty interesting to watch the Japanese mobile game industry, since China and Korea especially are kind of eating Japan's lunch. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.